We will all miss the Little More program that has been conducted every year on the 8th of October. This happens to be the birth anniversary of Srimati Leena Pawar, who is the inspiration and who has laid the foundation for Little More. We are hopeful to have our annual day as soon as the pandemic impact reduces and life is back to normal. Today we are going to have two very nice interactive sessions. The panelists are Dr. Sadia Mukadam and Dr. Shiva. Dr. Sadia is a practicing dentist who is passionate about social work and has been associated with many social organizations. Dr. Shiva, he is for the past 22 years associated with the Tata Memorial Hospital, a premier body that deals with cancer patients, as a senior dietitian. I've personally known him through the various interactive sessions that we have had for our cancer patients. He's not only a soul that any person can talk to, but also somebody who can elaborately talk about diet and nutrition. He's had active participation in various research projects and has been a national and international speaker on various forums. I would like to invite Dr. Sadia, who will talk about oral hygiene. Over to you, Dr. Sadia.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's been a pleasure to do this. I have known you since I think past 2 years now, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sadia. I'm a practicing dentist since 3.5 years now, and I hope you all are having a great day. I know these are one of the most in my entire span of my short career. Also, this has been the most tough and challenging times because of COVID. And I know that as a dentist, I've received tons and tons of people's queries and regarding oral health and regarding toothache and other tooth-related problems, because nobody could go to a dentist. Everything was in a lockdown. So I thought this is the most best session for everyone to understand what exactly you can do to probably prevent any kind of tooth related problems, or how can you solve certain problems at home. I could give you certain tips and treatment procedures that you could do at home as well. So I would like to just dive into it. I would like to share my screen with you. I hope everyone can see this. So I know that everyone has a real big dentophobia when it comes to dentists. Everyone is super scared. And in India, we all go to a dentist only when we have a real bad tooth pain. That's the only time we remember a dentist. Everyone otherwise forgets it. They tend to like delay and defer their appointments right till the end. And I think that's what everyone did during the entire year. And then finally, when the lockdown came in, the tooth which was otherwise giving a small pain during the start of the year started to give a lot of pain once the lockdown came in. And so yeah, I would like to start with the preventive measures that a person could use. The first is, for me as a dentist, I couldn't give you a sort of a oral regime that one can follow right from the start of your day till the end of the day. It begins with in the morning, of course, you have to brush your teeth. That's a given. After that, going forward during your day, I suggest that after any kind of sticky substance that you eat, or something that is really sugary, that is, for example, you have your cakes or a gulab jamun, which could have a lot of sugar syrup, it tends to form a coating on your tooth. So Post that, I always suggest my patients to use a mouthwash and to rinse and gargle your mouth after any kind of meal which is really heavy, because we tend to do only twice a day brushing, that is once in the morning and once at night. But in between, a lot of food lodgement occurs, a lot of food gets stuck here and there, and that usually tends to create small cavities which later tend to start paining. Also, during the day, I would suggest a betadine mouth wash. It is extremely helpful even during COVID, because it kills any kind of bacterial infection in your throat, as well as it gives you a little bit of a clean and a fresh gargle inside your mouth. Uh, Going forward, mouthwashes, of course, there are different brands that you can use: Listerine, Colgate Plaques, and you just need to take a small ml, like a 5 ml, mix it with cold water and just rinse your mouth. Another common problem that people face during COVID is that when you wear the mask, and if you've not brushed your teeth for long, you tend to have a halitosis, which is called a bad breath. That when you cover your face, it tends to circulate between your mouth and your nose. So it's always good if you use a mouthwash. It keeps your mouth very fresh, and so when you speak, you don't have that bad breath. Also, of course, flossing during the night, I suggest my patients to use a 3 technique, that is brushing, flossing, and using a tongue scraper. So not many people in India are aware of using a tongue scraper. We're not even, most of us don't even use flossing. So flossing doesn't have to necessarily be on every tooth. It can be only on the teeth that you find which are really close to each other, which are really tight in contact. You might want to, and if you've eaten something which is really sticky, or for example, you've eaten non-vegetarian food, which may be chicken, mutton, which tends to get stuck between your crevices of the teeth. Using a floss, it comes in different forms. You could use probably a Colgate floss, which is wax coated. It doesn't hurt your gums at all, and when you use it, you can use it only for your teeth which are at the back, maybe not in the front, because if you feel that it hurts your gums and it starts bleeding. After that is this is a big no-no. I would suggest, do not use your floss with too much pressure, because it may tend to hurt your gums. It will bruise them, and it's likely that you might end up bleeding. So it's a very gentle hand technique that you're supposed to use, going right from the back teeth moving forward. Also, people have a very misconception in India using a lot of sharp objects. If we feel that there's something stuck in our tooth, we immediately take our nails or we take a toothpick. All this is a strict no-no. If you feel that there is something stuck, you immediately gargle, or then you use a floss, or you brush your teeth immediately, but do not use toothpicks or do not use any sharp objects like pins to remove it. Now, also, the picture over here is of a person who, I know that in lockdown, sometimes, if your tooth is shaking a little bit, you want to just yank it off, thinking that, Abhi, who will go to the dentist? But please do not do that. If you feel that the tooth is shaking, might still be inside, which could cause a severe infection. This is a tongue scraper. So the tongue scraper is, I highly recommend my patients to use it. It's a very easy technique. All you have to do is you get it in any chemist that you go to. You can just put it on your tongue and just scrape off. Always we have a layer which is formed on our tongues, and it tends to result in a bad breath, or it tends to cause infections in our mouth. So it's at the end of your session, after you've brushed your teeth, you've done your flossing, right before you go to bed, you can just do a tongue scraping and then go off to bed. Many people suffer from gum bleeding. It is one of the most common problems that I have seen. And during the lockdown, a lot of patients texted me on WhatsApp saying that there was bleeding of the gums in the mornings, especially. If you're someone who faces bleeding of the gums either at night or in the mornings, I would suggest taking lukewarm water, adding a little pinch of salt, and doing a little bit of a gargle. Also, gum bleeding is an indication of probably that you're not having a lot of citrus fruits. That means your vitamin C levels are quite low. Also, gum diseases could mean that the medicines that you're taking, the steroids that you're on, are causing a reaction in your body. So you might want to take it a little more seriously. Also, now coming to the treatment options that we have in this entire lockdown, as a dentist, I faced a lot of as practitioners, we also faced a lot of lack of patient flow, and there were people who were suffering from toothaches or other tooth related problems, and they didn't know what to do. They were texting us on WhatsApp, but I suggest that there are a lot of portals nowadays which are available, which are online, where dentists are available, and you can send a picture to us and we can do an online consultation. For me as a doctor, it's very important to see the health of the patient first. So if you're someone who's above the age of 40, 45, I first would suggest you to take an online consultation. If you're someone who has comorbidities, it's not good for you to expose yourself coming to a clinic. It's better to first take an online consultation, try the medications that your doctor prescribes, because that would it's your first step. If it still is very severe, then of course you can have a clinic consultation. In your online consultations, we have various apps that are online now. There is Medscape, there is in India, we have, I think, 3-4 apps which are doing really well, and you can find dentists online, and I think it's a great way to connect. Also, if there is something really severe, if you need to actually go to the clinic, I would suggest that you first have a look at the clinic which is in your area. Do not go to someone just because they're right next to your place, but also see if they're following a proper protocol. It's very important for you to be going to a clinic which is not just that they put a sanitizer on your hand and that's it. There is an entire procedure and a protocol that should be followed, and step by step, which is very important for you as a patient also to have a look. Starting from if the doctor is wearing his or her PPE kits, if the entire place has a sanitizer spray, if they are checking your temperatures, if the entire office space is kept really clean, if they're using disposable gloves, mouth masks, instruments, the chair side. So all of these things are something that you should be a little vigilant about, since these times are really difficult. Moving forward, this is something which is the most home care that you can take is your diet. Having citrus fruits, of course, is one of the most important things to keep your gums really healthy, and having a lot of crunchy salads like carrots and radish, so that there's a lot of circulation within your gums and your mouth, and it keeps your teeth really strong. So this was what I would suggest, going right from my preventive measures of what you can do at home to what your treatment options are, and coming straight to your diet. And yeah, that's about it. If you all have any questions, you can ask me. And please do not take any kind of medication just at home, over the counter painkillers for your tooth problems, because it just tends to stop the pain for that 5-10 minutes, but after that again the pain 5-10 days will come back again, and then you're back to square one. So it's good that even if you have a small mild pain which starts, it's better to get the consultation done immediately, so that you know what are the next steps that you could do. So yeah, I hope you stay safe and shine with a big smile. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sadia. We will take some questions once we are getting from Facebook after a while. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also we have the Little More trustees with us, Mr. Chetan Savla, we have Mrs. Gargi Farid, and we have Gauri Patil, who is the executive director. And behind a successful man, there's always a woman. So it is Mrs. Chetan Savla's wife, Jyoti Savla, who's also there behind all of us, standing strong with us. We will go to the next session. Before we go on to the next session that is going to be conducted by Dr. Shiv Shankar, I would like to take you all through what all activities Little More as an NGO has been we have initiated during the pandemic, because it's just not we were very much active during these times, these trying times, I must say. And I would like to share the screen here with all of you. We were able to start, we were able to conduct a program, Each One Inspire One, from almost from 21st of April to 3rd of May, wherein a lot of eminent dignitaries joined in, and they inspired through their talks, through their music, and through various storytelling narratives to all the people who joined us live through Facebook, as well as this was showcased in Tata Memorial Hospital wards and KEM ward as well. Then we had a very big initiative, Each One Feed One, whereby we gave nutritional packed meals to around 20,000 people, caretakers from KEM Hospital. It was during the same pandemic time that we also initiated the distribution of masks, the KN95 masks, almost 10,000. We gave it to Cooper Hospital. We gave each hospital, we gave from 3,000 to 1,000 masks. We gave it to Sion Hospital, Cooper Hospital. We gave it to Nair Hospital, TMH, Tata Memorial Hospital. We gave it to the North Region Additional Commissioner of Police. We gave it to KM Hospital, and we gave 3-ply masks, almost 3 lakh masks, 3-ply masks we distributed to, again, various hospitals. We gave around 700 PPE kits, out of which we gave a few to Cooper, we gave to Lions Club, to Dr. Kishore Pandey, Tata Memorial Hospital, we gave to MCGM, we gave some to the Additional Commissioner of Police, North Region. Then we also we have been consistently working with the Leprosy House, the Aquath Leprosy House, Vadala, but during the pandemic times, we did support medicines which were a requirement. We gave few almost 382 petticoats to the general ward of Tata Memorial Hospital, and again to the patients who were stranded during the lockdown, when there were reports that the patients, Tata Memorial Hospital patients, were stranded and staying below the Hindmata flyover. We tried to in coordination with the MCGM, we tried to give them a shelter at Bandra, and then from there and from other various shelter homes at the TMH, Tata Memorial Hospital, had provided shelter. We arranged for, along with coordinating with the MCGM, we arranged for the red AC buses for the patients to come to Tata for their treatment, for the ongoing treatment. Also, there was some financial support that we offered to our patients. A few what we did during the pandemic area. I'm very happy that we also have Nehal Shah, who's a very near and dear friend of mine, has been a great supporter of Little More. She has joined in as well. So warm welcome to you, Nehal. She's currently the corporator for ward number 177, a dynamic personality and very much a motivation to young people. So let us go ahead and let us hear from Dr. Shiv Shankar about diet, how diet can really help us during the pandemic era, during the pandemic times, the before, after, and during the pandemic times. What do you, Dr. Shankar?
Thank you, Geetali, for
Thank you.
organizing today's event. And yeah, as we know, we are getting so many kind of informations are available. Everyone is advising what to do, how to prevent, how to lead your life, what to eat, what to avoid. Lot of information is available. So whether those informations are right, wrong, I leave it to those people who are recommending. What I'm going to do is, let us make it very simple, practical. You don't have to spend anything more than what you are already doing for your home. And it should be very easy to maintain. That's what I'm going to propose. Before I talk about the diet, let us understand what are the problems we are facing. Yes, due to the COVID, once the patient has the COVID, what is the normal kind of symptoms what we started with in the month of March, April? We thought only cough, cold, running nose, and certain things, nausea, vomiting. Few of the things which are going to be the symptoms which are going to trouble the one who is infected. But of late, we have seen that many of people started complaining of loss of taste, smell of food they don't like, lot of body pain. They say they don't have any energy, they can't get up, they feel always tired, fatigue, they don't want to eat food. You know, these are the things which were dominating for at least 4 to 5 days of the infection. And it was really very tough for those who really got COVID, and to get out of these 4 or 5 days, if you ask their experience, they just say it was something like a very tough kind of a situation, which they never want to again revisit this kind of clinical condition. Yes, agreed upon. This great invader has changed the way we think, the way we are leading our life, the way we eat, and everything. Let us see some data. 4 or 5 slides I'm using just to validate what I'm going to speak about. This is people, have a kind of a concept as of now. Once I have COVID and if I have been treated, I will not get it again. That's one concept. The second one is like, even if I, at least for 2 months or maybe more than that, 3 months, I have those antibodies and I will not get COVID till then. So people who already got infected, and for those 45-60 days, they feel ki they will not have COVID for the coming those 1.5 to 2 months. But here is a study where they found that those who already tested positive, retested, the ones who already cured, and again when they were retested, they already had antibodies. 50%, 52% of them had immunoglobulin G and 30% had immunoglobulin M antibodies when they tested positive. It means already once they had COVID, after few days or weeks, they again got the symptoms, and when they tested positive for the second time, they were carrying the antibodies. It means having antibodies in your body doesn't give the freedom, stating that I have the shield, I can go anywhere, I don't need the mask, I have the defense with me. So unfortunately, that is not true. What this data states is you're still as vulnerable as the others are. Maybe 10% of benefit may be there, but that has to be seen. In India, we are still waiting. We are not through the first wave itself. Second wave might occur or may not occur. We don't know. There's something known as M wave. That is a third wave, which might happen before the vaccination comes, and how long it will take each individual to get that one. It's a question everyone wants to answer. Maybe June, July, we'll get the vaccination. By the time every individual gets it, it may take 6 months more. That's why we need to be more precautious, even though we had been infected earlier and got cured, or till now we have not been infected. We both have to be very careful regarding this. Who are these people who are at more risk? We know that some people in the same family got COVID, some people didn't get. In the same office, some people got it, some people didn't get it. Is it only the immunity or maybe something more than that? So that is what I'm going to discuss about. Lot of things have been discussed about the immunity. If you have a good immunity, you'll not get COVID. Yes, immunity has a defense, but it's not 100%. So that's what we need to keep it in mind. So just because I have never fallen ill till for the last 6 years, 10 years, or in my life, I will not get COVID. Please don't be under the impression of that. I have good immunity, but still you are at risk. That's what I want to tell. In this study in New York City, out of 5,700 patients, they found that 3,000 were hypertensive, 1,800 were diabetes, but 1,700 were obese. And these obese patients, those who were overweight patients, are at more challenged situations than any other kind of comorbidities. Again, this one more data, what we would like to say, state over here, those who are obese or overweight, that is having a higher BMI, they need more intensive care. It means that they have more chances of going into the ICU after COVID infection. And not only that, they take more time to get cured and come back home. And along with that, the same thing, this again supports the previous data saying that if you have a higher BMI, you have higher chances of getting into the ICU, you have higher chances of getting into intubated. That is, you will need the oxygen, extra oxygen supply. You see in one of the studies where 85 patients who were into the ICU of obese patients, 90% had to be intubated, 90%. It means you can just imagine if you are obese, how vulnerable you are. This is again a recent data which has come. If you see, mild obesity doubles risk of respiratory failure in COVID-19. Here the odds ratio, if you see, when I say odds ratio, anything above 1, it means it's more likely to happen. If it is 1, it means it has equal chance as all others have. And if it is less than 1, it means you don't have a chance of it. So if you see all these figures, ICU admission 4.9, it's so high. If you are obese, your chances of getting into the ICU is almost 5 times higher than a normal weighing patient. And respiratory failure almost 2.5 times. And occurring a death for obese patient having COVID is again more than 1.7 readings. So what does this mean? If you are obese and if you had COVID, you are into the highest risk of getting into the COVID complications. So having said that, your weight is most important. Okay, now what to go about it? I have done with the data. Now what to be done and how we can try to build up our immunity, try to have a good resistance, and try to have a good inner healing system. Of course, hygiene is the most important thing, and above that, yes, keeping a distance with others, social distancing is the most prior thing. These two things at any cost are the best things where you can keep away from getting into COVID. The other factors like having a good healing system or having a better resistance or recovery rate or having a good immunity, we'll speak about that. What precautions you can take? Any fruits, vegetables, when you bring home, thoroughly clean them. If the vegetables can be soaked into water, use warm salt water to soak it. If anyone in the home are hypertensive, have a high blood pressure, then this system is not applicable. You can just soak it in warm water. Yes, there is no evidence that COVID virus can transfer from food. But yes, from food handling methods, you can transfer the virus into your body. So that is why whatever the food you refrigerate it or get it from outside, you clean it properly, store it properly, and again when you want to use it, the best method to kill if any virus are there, it is to heat up to at least 70 degrees Celsius. The second thing is be physically active. And if you are physically active, you can reduce the stress, reduce the ability of our T cells. T cells are something like army. The armies, they know to defend the country. So that's very simple language I'm saying. If you have a good number of T cells, any kind of virus, bacteria, the body is in a shape and condition to fight all those virus and bacteria. So if when you're having a good physical activities, your T cell counts are improved. Your responses to the infections are much better, and your recovery rate will be much higher than the others. So that is why you see that in whatever the way you can be physically active, do exercise, yoga, stretching exercise, whatever, there is nothing very specific which kind of exercise you have to do. What is more important is how far you are physically active throughout the day. Because of this pandemic and lockdown and certain work from home, you are sitting at one place for 8 to 10 hours. All those things what I spoke about, the goodness of T cells, if you're sitting at one place for more than 4 to 5 hours, the counts go on reducing. Your lymphocyte counts become low. Your effectiveness of those lymphocytes and T cells, the army, it's something like if armies are not taken into the parading and everyday exercise, what happens? They become more lethargic, they become less effective. So they cannot kill the enemy. It's very simple as it is. So the more physically active you are, the more internal immunity is more effective. Now, as I said, we don't have to really listen to too many things. You have to make kadas, you have to make this, that, bring this one, buy that. Yes, agreed. If you want to do, go ahead with that. But we have very simple remedies in our kitchen. Very cheap, very easy to use, and you don't have to spend anything extra for doing all those things. Garlic, lasoon, as we know, that is one of the most effective thing. Even though WHO has said they don't have any evidence to state that garlic can fight any kind of COVID virus, but yes, laboratorically it has been tested. It has an antiviral effect. But how far one will have an effect on his own body to fight the COVID? Because any kind of immunity, I'm saying any kind of immunity has no 100% defense. So what we can do is we can just have a better condition what we are having as of now. So they see that every day you are eating at least 2 to 3 raw garlics. Then comes the turmeric. Turmeric is one of the fantastic, one of the fabulous kind of ingredient which has antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer properties. Such a wonderful. But the problem is we use it in a wrong way. The first thing is the quantity we use is less. The second way is how we use. We saute whatever the vegetables we want to make. We put it into the heated oil. We saute it, and all anti properties of all these things gets destroyed. So that is why raw turmeric is as effective as anything other antibiotics. But if you are going to use it in a wrong way, it's not going to give you the defense of what you really require. So turmeric should be taken at least 2 small spoons. You see these small teaspoons. So this weighs around 5 grams. So in a day you can take 8 to 10 grams of turmeric either in water, either in milk, or in any other preparations. Or after cooking the food, you can just sprinkle the turmeric onto the food prepared or the dal prepared, and you can consume. But the effect of turmeric can be enhanced only if there is a piperine added to that. Piperine means the pepper, calamari, what we call it as. So the pepper is the one which makes turmeric more strong. So it means that the armies have a defense, guns, artilleries and missiles. So the army is strong, but if they don't have a good weapon, it's no use again. So that is why to build up that weapon, we need to include some amount of black pepper, at least 4 to 5 black peppers throughout the day we need to consume. Again, the cinnamon, dalchini, it's every home has it. It has. So it has again antibacterial, antiviral. It controls your blood sugars, anti-cancer properties, antioxidant. Such a wonderful ingredient. Again, we use it in a wrong way. That is, we saute it, we burn it, then we use it in a very less quantity, and we expect that I have a good immunity. No, again, that is why if you want to reap on the benefits of these ingredients, you should have the right quantity in the right way. So what is the recommended quantity? 5 to 10 grams per day, and you should not be having it at one dose kind of a thing. You should have in a distributed kind of a thing. So the best thing is, even in tea, if you can add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, it only improves the taste of the tea as well as, and you are getting immunity as well. Ginger, again, one of the fantastic food ingredient, what we daily use it. Again, the same thing, the way we use it, we saute it, that is wrong. And again, how much we should have? At least 10 grams, 2 to 3 times a day. I'm talking about all adults. For children's, all measurements, what I spoke about, it will be slightly lesser than that. Maybe 50% or 75% depending upon the age of the kid. So at least you can take 10 grams 2 to 3 times a day. Again, the same thing I would like to state over here. Instead of sauteing, you can have a little bit of ginger paste. After cooking the food, you can add to the cooked food, then you can consume. It won't change the taste and it won't change the flavor of the food. Now you can say if that is not possible, we all are Indians, are tea lovers. We can drink 2, 3 cups, 4 cups of tea. People can go ahead and try to take more tea as well. The best thing is, again, have a tea in the right way, the right composition. You can have lemon tea, you can have masala tea, adding all those ingredients like pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, dalchini. You can add all these ingredients into making the tea also. It only again enhances the taste, and you are getting such a good amount of antibiotics into your diet, antioxidants into your diet, and they all are such a good defense for your body if you take into the right quantity in a right way. You can call it as a herbal tea. And what are the things which normally you can add is ginger, cinnamon, pepper, lime, and we know how to make it. Again, having said that, instead of making so many different kadas, this itself is a kind of a kada. If you get influence with the word that kada, oh, you make the kada, that becomes more effective. Tea itself is a kada where you can add these ingredients and make it more stronger and have a good immunity. Again, vitamin D, okay, the monsoon is over, now sun is started coming out. You can get good amount of sunlight. Morning, if you can go for around 20-25 minutes for walking, doing exercise, and have some good sunlight, you don't have to supplement yourself with the vitamin D. So see that you every day gets exposed to at least your arms and face and parts of your legs for 20-25 minutes morning sunlight. You are getting the daily requirement of vitamin D, what is being needed by the body. Of all these things, we all eat less proteins. Yes, of course, we can increase all the spices, but protein is one thing which is the most important thing. This is the one which is like a machine lubricant, or something like you have a machine, but it's not functioning. Because it's not functioning, because all those lubrications and mechanisms, what you need, or those add-ons, what you need for a machine to work in a more effective way. If you're not giving all those ingredients, the machine may not be as effective. So the same thing, protein is one of the most important ingredient for a body to work in a most effective way. It gives you strength, it gives you defense, it increases your recovery phase. If you fall ill, if you get infected, you will recover faster when you eat good amount of protein. As you saw in my first slide, as I said, when we have COVID, our taste is compromised, our appetite is compromised. We don't know what to eat. Our appetite goes down, and when we say you eat all these ingredients, it becomes very difficult for the patient. That time, asking the patients to eat some proteins of a good quality, yes, it's a challenging for them. But for that, you can go for supplementations. You can go for protein bars. or you can go for concentrated protein sources like egg or pulses or such kind of things, which in little quantity also you're going to get good amount of protein and good quality protein as well. Sprouts again are the best source of proteins other than all non-vegetarian things, what you see on the screen. And of course, the milk and milk products are the best sources of proteins. Having said all these things, we know that we don't hydrate ourselves as required. And because water is not considered as a nutrient, even though this is a nutrient, water is a nutrient. And of course, the lymphocytes, T cells, if you remember what I started my talk with, all those army people, if you want them to be again effective, because they have to circulate in your body. If you are dehydrated, the circulation will not be that effective. The blood circulation also gets affected. The blood concentration gets affected. That is why if you are poorly hydrated, all those lymphocytes and T cells will not be again acting as effectively required, even after consuming all these kind of spices what I spoke till now. So well hydration is the best thing. How you can know that I am well hydrated? You might have heard drink 7 glasses, 8 glasses, 12 glasses of water. You don't have to count the glasses. Forget about it. The best thing is see your color of the urine. If the color of the urine is transparent, yellow color, very pale yellow color, or maybe towards a transparent white color, that is the best way you can understand that I am well hydrated. The more darker it is, more dark yellow or brownish color, it means you have been dehydrated. So that is how you can analyze yourself. You don't need any kind of table. You don't need any kind of special things to know about that. When we talk about exercise, which exercise and how much exercise? I already said you can do any kind of exercise what you would like. You want to do Zumba, you want to do yoga, you want to do have a weightlifting kind of exercise at home. You want to go for a walk. Any kind of things you do, but please do it for at least 1 hour. So at least that is the minimum thing required for body to be most effective. Having said that, from tomorrow onwards, don't start lifting weight in a so heavy way and start working for 1 hour, because you need to analyze your body's strength and how much it can cope up. That way you can go on proceeding how much of strength training exercise I can do about it. If you have any medical conditions, please consult your doctors and then go ahead with the thing. Even before starting yoga also, you start with the trainer, then you can practice at home on your own. And we know lockdown ke side effects, all these things. We have started making all high fat foods, all sugary things, pastries, cakes. Many things have been started cooking in many of the houses, and our physical activity has gone down, and all recipes, rich recipes have increased, frequencies have increased. And of course, by the end of this year, or maybe couple of months in the next year, we might be ending into a different kind of a PMI. We might be having a 10 kgs added to us. So to prevent that condition, and as I said, obesity is more dangerous than diabetes and hypertension. Of course, they are also dangerous, but obesity, don't forget, that is the one which will take into the ICU and may not be even the surviving also will be a question mark. So that is why look out for your weight, do some good exercise, whatever you can, and try to maintain your weight in the most effective way. Remove all those extra calories which you really don't need. Learn to say no for all those snacks which will add unwanted extra calories. All kind of cold drinks, all kind of pastries, sweets, pastas, fast foods, pizzas, burgers. They even one dish gives you as equivalent as of your lunch or a dinner. That much of calories they provide, or maybe around 70-80% of your meals calories comes from one snack of this. So you are just adding 300 to 400 calories, which is not at all required. And you know how much of time you require to spend those 300 to 400 calories. So you need to again walk for at least 1 hour, 1.5 hours to burn those 300 to 400 calories. It's not that easy to burn calories also. So that is why be very conscious of your health. Be very conscious what you select the snacks, and view how far you are physically active. Analyze yourself and change the way you are leading your life. What can weaken your immune system? Having followed all those things what I said, but your sleeping pattern is very bad. You sleep very late. Get up early. You're not getting a good sleep. Again, that is going to nullify whatever the benefits you had of all those kind of food items what you consumed. If you are having a lot of anxiety, work out on those anxieties. Non-dietary habits like smoking and consumption of excess alcohol again will nullify all those good effects of all those spices what I spoke about. Poor diet selections, the previous slide, as I said, remove all those extra calories. Be wise enough, eat right, and choose the right snacks for yourself. To summarize what all things I said, yes, of course, the best thing is prevention is better than cure. Protect yourself, maintain physical distances, and follow what guidelines have been issued by the governments. Don't be complacent. Be careful of U-turn and second wave. What I spoke about the first slide. Second wave might come at any time. Maybe we are not, as I said, we are not yet crossed the first event itself. Maybe till the vaccine comes, I really don't know what kind of situations will prevail. Immunonutrition, you don't have to supplement, you don't have to search on Google, hunt for advertisers and think what all things have been recommended of those kadas. It's in your kitchen. You don't have to worry about the expenses. Don't have to make different recipes for that one. It's a normal duty of everyday's kitchen activities what you can do, having a masala tea, lemon tea, herbal tea, or whatever you can call it. Do exercise at least for 30 minutes daily. The best is 1 hour. Maintain hygiene, have nutritious food, and be well hydrated. Senior citizens, people with diabetes, hypertension, be more careful. And if you're obese, start workouts and don't hesitate for medical checkup immediately in case if you are feeling unwell. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Shiva. This session it was very enriching, almost a 360 degrees, showcase of right from information on COVID to diet, nutrition, exercises. Let's be open for the questions that are coming on Facebook. So, any questions from the trustees, the executive director who's there, Gauri Patil or Nehal, anybody wants to ask a question? And otherwise, I'll start asking. You're mute. Anybody who wants to ask the question?
Yeah, I would like to ask Dr. Sadia.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, how are you? So
I'm
this is Gargi here, and there have been actually questions about toothache and what would be the right approach to treatment of toothache during these times. Because home remedies are always there, like clove oil. How much do you, expect people to wait till things get better?
correct. So, first of all, it depends on the patient. Is the patient an adult patient or a child? Now, clove oil is a very, of course, it's a home remedy, and but it's a very temporary remedy. It cannot be used for a long period of time. If you're having a chronic pain, that is, if the pain is persistent for more than a week, 2 weeks, and if it's giving you a throbbing pain, then clove oil would not be your first step towards treatment. Then you would need to consult your doctor online. But if suppose if it's just a mild pain, you can just feel it only when you're having a little bit of sensitivity, when you're having cold water or warm water, and that's the time it's giving you a little bit of pain, then putting a clove oil on that region is beneficial. Also, if it's your child, if it's someone very in the range of 6 to 10 years, then you need to see whether the tooth is of a milk tooth, if it's the milk tooth that's paining and which needs to fall out, or if it's a permanent tooth, which the new tooth which has come. So if it's a milk tooth and if we're in lockdown, it's okay, because you know that eventually it's going to fall down. Whereas if it's something if it's a permanent tooth, then you need to be a little more careful as a parent, because it's going to be a permanent tooth and you do not want it to be decayed, because that's the tooth he's going to have. So it's better to then consult a doctor online. I hope that answers what you were looking for.
Okay.
Yes,
is
indeed.
it
So we
a
have,
good time?
Can I ask one question?
yeah, please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, Mr. Shiv, that now that people have started moving out of home, for work and otherwise, do you want them to follow a certain diet because they are going out, some kind of some drink or something more to what you have advised all other people?
Yeah, it's a good question what you asked. Even that never struck me, but it's a really good. I'm thankful for that.
Thank you.
What simple thing what you can do is, like as I said, you don't have to really work hard on getting our immunity. What I said, okay, it's in the kitchen. Then again, but if you're going out and if someone is not able to make food for you at home, there may be some people who are working in different cities where they are not staying with the families and they have to either they're at home or they're going to their workplace. Even the simple thing like if in any way they are going to drink at least 1 or 1.5 liter of water, they can add turmeric to that one. They can add dalchini powder to that one, pepper powder to that one, and of course the taste might differ. But believe me, even when they drink such kind of mixtures without doing anything else with the normal content of water, still they feel better. Even you can try it out. We don't have to really work out too much of that one. If either you take a 500 ml of water bottle and just add those teaspoon of turmeric and what all things what I said and mix and keep it throughout the day, but you can go on sipping it whenever you would like to. So again, a special preparation is not required. Whether you're traveling, whether you're at home, whether you're without family, in any way it's done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
I
much.
have a question for both the panelists. Green tea right now is very much in vogue, yeah, and also to the thanks to the pandemic. So how about what are the effects of having green tea as compared to the normal tea which we Indians are habituated to having when it comes to dental care? Okay, the black tea, the normal tea, and the green tea when it comes to dental care. And the second question is for Dr. Mr. Shiv. How about green tea, which can is it really an immunity booster? The way the messages, especially WhatsApp messages, are coming in. So, Dr. Sadhya, could you answer it first?
Yeah, sure. So, when most of Indians were like habituated with chai, our love for tea is a lot. So, but tea usually causes a lot of stains on your, if you're someone who is a frequent drinker, if you have more than one time during the day, it leads to a lot of stains on your teeth. Whereas green tea is something which doesn't have that much of, it's not very strong. Also, the green tea is very beneficial because it helps your gums to remain very healthy, and also it is a good, it's, yes, it is known to be an immunity booster. So it helps all microbacterial infections that are present in your mouth as well. So it's a very good switch from a normal chai. Also, when you have your normal tea, people tend to put more of sugar cubes and make it really sweet, and which could result in having a little bit of a sugary layer on your mouth, and which we then tend to forget to brush, and which also could lead to decay later. So I think green tea is a very good option other than a normal chai.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Shiv, you can add.
Yeah. First thing we should know that green tea leaves and the normal tea what we make it at home are of the same origin. The only difference is the way they have been processed. So of course both them have a good antioxidants properties. The problem arises when we add milk to the tea. The calcium, it nullifies all those antioxidants which come from the tea leaves. So that is why even the tea what I projected in my slide was not of a normal tea kind of a thing with added milk kind of a thing. So it's best that you go for a lemon tea or you go for a green tea, herbal coffee, because you're not adding any milk to that. Their antioxidant properties are available to you. The moment you add milk, they get nullified. So that is why Yes, of course. Having said that, if you cannot drink green tea or black tea, but you can, if you can add all those spices what I spoke about, then you can get the benefit of those spices, even though you may not get the benefits of the tea leaves of antioxidants what it can provide. So the best choice is go for any kind of tea preparation without adding milk.
Okay.
Of course, with less sugar or no sugar.
Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. Another question that has come up is how to gain weight if you have high metabolism rate.
Can you repeat, please?
How to gain weight if you have a high metabolism rate?
First thing, you need to meet an endocrinologist for this one. When you are saying you are having high metabolic rate, in what way, and in whether it's the hormone related one or it's a enzyme related one, in what way it is been defined as having high metabolic rate? Because the dietary interventions will differ as per the doctor's diagnosis. So anyone if having this kind of problem, first you get diagnosed and take that report and meet any of the dietitians.
Okay. There is a question for Dr. Sadia. Are any specific toothpaste, recommended to take care of the bleeding gums or strengthening of the gums or the teeth?
Yeah.
Or
So
one can, go in for, so without naming any brand, is it something, yeah?
yeah. So there is, of course, with gums, when you have bleeding gums, you can go with a very natural therapeutic that could be using a miswak stick, which is you get it in any chemist also nowadays, and you just need to use the stick in your mouth, rubbing it over your teeth and over your gums. This causes a little bit of blood circulation, and that is one. Second, if you have, depends on the amount of gum bleeding of the gums that you're facing. If it's very mild, then of course you can use a miswak. But if you're facing something which is a little severe gum bleeding, that is you can see it while speaking or while eating, that's it, while chewing, when you're having severe bleeding of gums, this is the time when you need to go to a dentist, because maybe there is a lot of food lodgement around your teeth which needs to be cleaned, which is and there's a layer of calculus. Calculus is something, it's a calcium layer which is formed on your tooth surface, which occurs when you have not the surface of the tooth has not been cleaned for long, which further results in gum bleeding. Using any particular brand as such, most of your toothpaste are very they have your fluorides and all of that, which prevent infections. But if you're having sensitivity, then I think the most common, of course, toothpaste you could use is Sensodyne. Other than that, there are Himalaya also is a very organic option if you want to go for, if you're someone who faces gum bleeding. And yeah, I think that should really be helpful.
Okay. One more question that has come from the viewers. It's for Dr. Shiv. During COVID, increased screen time has caused a lot of eye strain, especially to children, and youngsters. So, what care should be taken what care should be taken?
On a dietary point of view,
Yes.
Include all orange, yellow, and red colored fruits and vegetables. They all are rich in vitamin A, carotene, which is required for your eyes health. The second thing is, if you are into the kind of work from home, or for the children who's having 3 to 4 hours of lectures on the online lectures, it's better that at least in between they should get some kind of relief, and maybe just close their eyes and put up a soft pressure on their eyes with their fingers, and rest for a minute or so. Even a simple exercise of that, having a rolling your eyes around your sitting, wherever you are sitting. So a little bit of break they need to take it. Whenever the lecture changes, they can just close their eyes and put their fingers on their eyes and slightly put a pressure on that. So that they can
Okay.
do. And of course, anti-glare goggles are available. If they can afford, they can take that as well.
You had mentioned during the course of your talk, you had mentioned use of turmeric. So turmeric powder, and just we also have turmeric which is in the raw form, just like how we have the adrak. Almost it looks like the same thing. What is recommended, the powdered form or the raw?
Any will do. And the raw form will be more better if you can pound it and make powder. If you know how to do it. But if you
Okay.
ask me the choice, yes, of course, not the powder one. You go with the root part.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so basically one can have the raw kind of raw part as well. Okay,
By the
okay,
time it gets processed into the milling and
right,
packaging, the
right,
handling, lot of
right,
ingredients get lost.
right. Okay, okay, sure. Any questions coming in from any questions coming in from Chetan, Jyoti Bhabhi, Gauri, Gargi? Any questions uh, any questions from anybody? You
I
will have
think
to unmute.
you have explained very thoroughly and in a very simple way. So I think most of us have understood.
Please check if we are live still or we have finished.
Yeah, we are live. Yeah. Thanks a lot for taking the time out and joining us. And this is how we thought of celebrating our 11th annual day by getting both of you online, interacting with our. Right now on FB, we have people from our RUYA group, from IES, and few of our donors, our volunteers. They are all joined in, and we hope to have many more such sessions with both of you in the near future. Also, I would like to thank the backend team, Anirudh Narayan and Amar, who have helped us organize the Zoom call, this session. And thanks to Jyoti Bhabhi, Chetan Savla, Gargi Farid, and Gauri Patil as well. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.